monkey-sized pill bugs. That's a fun alliteration. You may be familiar with pill bugs, more well known as potato bugs. You know, the little cute bugs that would roll up into balls when you found them while digging in the dirt on the playground. Usually they're no larger than the tip of your pinky, but there is a reason I'm bringing them up on this list. The biggest one ever found was 13 inches long, and it was found at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, there's ocean pill bugs, who knew? It was found in Indonesia and was the first giant isopod found in more than a decade. Its technical name is the Bathynomus giganteus and can also be found off the coast of Florida, because of course it can. Florida has everything.
Moving on to number 9, we have the colossal squid. In June of 2020, a giant squid washed up on shore in Africa, perfectly intact, and it measured just over 14 feet long. This poor guy weighed around 700 pounds, long tentacles and all. This surpassed the 9.3 feet specimen they had in the Aziko South African Museum, but their size does not stop there. This specimen is called the giant squid, but the one we are mentioning is called the colossal squid, which is over 3 times the size of this creature. It can reach up to sizes of over 46 feet and weigh over 500 kg, meaning it needs to consume large fish above 7 feet long to sustain themselves. Luckily for us, they stay close to icy waters, but I wonder if that was always the case. I do often wonder if this was in fact the creature that inspired the Kraken. But did they always live in the icy cold waters or simply gravitate towards those areas over time? Scars on massive sperm whales have matched the suckers and hooks belonging to colossal squids, so perhaps a few ships dragged to Davy Jones' locker were attacked by the very same creature under a different name.
Number 8. The Goliath frog. A newborn baby might not look so small if you put this bad boy next to them. Weighing in on average at around 7 pounds, how can something so big be so hard to find? Well, by its sheer size it should be pretty easy to spot, but it has astounding camouflage powers. Its mossy green coloring allows it to hide in plain sight next to moss covered rocks and beneath the water's surface. In the rivers of the coastal rainforest in West Africa, these massive amphibians can be found, though potentially not for much longer. Due to the fact that they are a local delicacy and several unsuccessful breeding programs, these frogs are considered an endangered species. The Goliath is unsustainably hunted, and as a result its survival depends on new approaches to hunting. The population has declined 50% in the last 3 generations, and if nothing changes, these incredible creatures may disappear forever.
Coming in at number 7 is the giant oarfish. One of the rarest and most elusive creatures, should be easier to catch considering its size. An oarfish is more like an enormous sea serpent that looks like a wide silver ribbon that undulates throughout the water. The reason it's called an oarfish is due to its 2 pelvic fins that look like oars through water. We've seen the creature only a select few times, and we know that it can reach lengths up to 56 feet, which makes it the world's longest bony fish. They still remain quite a mystery to scientists, which could be due to their tendency to live in the deep dark ocean along with the other massive creatures. Unmanned submersible missions have managed to film the creatures in their natural environment, but it is a rare sight to see a healthy one, as we usually see them after they have died and then floated to shore. The last time this happened was in 2015 in Santa Catalina. A 17 feet specimen washed ashore.
Number 6. The shoebill. I love the shoebill, it's one of my favorite animals. The shoebill has been described as statue-like due to its unique ability to stay uncommonly still, like watching and waiting. They've been known to stand for hours staring at the water since they rarely blink, so they can snatch the right moment to gobble down some catfish. There is something mysterious about this massive bird, which stands well over 5 feet tall, but the real star about this creature is its enormous beak shaped like a clog, and its prehistoric appearance. But on top of that, they are incredibly regal and refuse to back down to even their fiercest foes, like the crocodile for example. They will take that on. In this video, you will see this zookeeper demonstrate how to greet the shoebill by bowing. Remind you of a certain HP character named Buckbeak? Of course it does. Unfortunately, they are a critically endangered species in Uganda due to habitat loss, which could mean we might lose them within 20 years. I don't know about you, but I hope there is a way to keep a real life buckbeak around much longer.
Alright, we are halfway through. At number 5 we have the flying fox. The largest bat in the world is the flying fox. Their wingspan can reach over 6 feet wide. They are as close to a fox and even for the most part behave like one, except they can fly. Their intelligence level has been compared to that of domestic dogs. Bats as animals themselves carry with a lot of superstition. They are popular creatures associated with Halloween, haunted houses, and vampires, and in some cultures they are viewed as sacred. The flying fox bat is even revered by the Kingdom of Tonga and are considered property of the king, which means harming them is illegal. Unlike their smaller relatives, these bats don't use echolocation and can see well during the day due to their amazing eyesight. Plus, don't worry about them sucking your blood. Flying fox bats primarily feed off of fruit, nectar, seeds, flowers, and leaves, so they will definitely leave you alone.
Number 4, cassowaries. Dude, this is the killer bird of your nightmares. It's terrifying. Forget poison snakes or mythical monsters. You don't want to find yourself in their line of sight, and especially not on their bad side. Are they more likely to run away than confront you? Yes, but the ones who realize that you are no match for them are the reason you should hightail it out of there. Weighing in at 190 pounds and can stand as tall as 6.6 feet, which is taller than me. They are honestly like the evil queen cousin to emus with long razor sharp claws that can, and have, gutted a man across the stomach and neck. They are also rather striking to look at with a hollow casque on the top of their head and bright blue, yellow, and red coloring. As I said, if you don't bother them or intimidate them with your dog, then they will pretty much stay out of your way. Just don't get in theirs.
Moving on to number 3, we have the Titan beetle. The Titan beetle is the largest beetle in the world and they live up to their name. Of course, they are found in the Amazon rainforest, which is one of the most diverse expanses of animal life in the world. They can grow around 6.5 inches in length, which is about the size of my hand. Not saying that I would like to hold one, but just for the sake of comparison. They are a force to be reckoned with in the animal insect kingdom, with jaws so strong they can easily cut pencils in half and cut into human flesh like butter. Oh, and it flies! It's a bird, it's a plane, no, it is a nightmare beetle flying in to land on your face because it thought you were a tree. That's terrifying.
Number 2, Lurch. No, I'm not talking about Lurch, the tall guy from the Addams Family. I'm talking about this poor dude. Check out this video. Lurch was a steer cow that holds the Guinness Book of World Records for having the largest horn circumference on a steer, about 95.25 centimeters or 37.5 inches. He was an African Watusi steer that somehow ended up being owned by one Janice Wolfe in Gassville, Arkansas, and became an international celebrity due to his comically large horns. The only competition against him probably would have been my grade 3 French teacher if she didn't figure out a way to hide them so well. Sadly, Lurch passed away in 2010 due to cancer brought on by the horns themselves. Ah, such a curse.
We've made it to number 1 and we have the Goliath spider. Nearly 1 foot wide, the Goliath bird-eating spider is the largest spider on Earth. This thing is so big it doesn't even bother making a web. It does all its hunting via brute strength and terror. The hairs on their 8 legs pick up vibrations in the air that tell them where food is, and when they find them, their prey is no match for their 1-inch long neurotoxic fangs, sharp enough to pierce human skin. This is terrifying. Thankfully though, their venom is not toxic to us, but to frogs, insects, and rodents. It is deadly, though it doesn't tend to eat birds as often, which is funny because it's in their name. Once their venom has paralyzed their victims, they slowly consume them by regurgitating their gastric fluid to help dissolve it from the inside out. Look, I don't like spiders, but I can't help but respect them, you know? Thanks to this behemoth of a spider though, I won't be venturing out into the northern rainforests of South America anytime soon.
Number 10, dinosaur. When it comes to big things, dinosaurs were pretty damn big. Scientists were able to uncover the fossilized remains of a new and unknown species of dinosaur underneath the ice sheets in Greenland. When the dinosaurs were alive, the Earth was a lot warmer and more tropical, these fossils becoming trapped under the ice when the climate changed into the Ice Age. The skull they found is thought to be a 2-legged plant-eating dinosaur of medium size, and they dubbed the new species Issy-Sinique. The dinosaur is believed to have grown to the size of 10 to 30 feet, and the skull they found is thought to be that of a younger dinosaur that had not fully grown yet. They used computer technology to create 3D scans of the head before sending the specimens to the Natural History Museum in Denmark, as they have sovereignty over the country of Greenland. It is the first known dinosaur to have been native to Greenland and is thought to come from the late Triassic period around 200 million years ago. Number 9. Bison. The massive carcass of a bison known as a steppe bison was found by a gold mining family in Alaska way back in 1979. They were using a mining hose and were melting a frozen block of ice, effectively thawing out the creature that had become trapped inside. The bison species is from the Ice Age, and the body that they found is thought to be tens of thousands of years old. Once they were finally able to fully excavate the body, they found other things alongside it, including hair, insects, wood, and different plants. When the pelt of the animal reacted to the soil around it, it turned the body blue, and so the bison ended up being dubbed Blue Babe. Analysis of the body showed it had died 36,000 years ago, a result of being attacked by an Ice Age lion. The ice allowed the creature to be incredibly well preserved, scientists even being able to find pockets of blood in the body. Number 8. Cave bear. This specimen found on an island in the Arctic was a very unique discovery, said to be one of the first of its kind. Researchers found a well-preserved body of a cave bear that was around 40,000 years old. Cave bears would grow to be around 7 feet long and typically weighed over 1,000 pounds in their adulthood. Before this discovery was made, they only knew about the animal from skulls and bones, and had never found a specimen that was this fully preserved. The body that they found had all of its organs still, and even still had its nose on its face, paired with its terrifyingly massive sharp teeth. According to one of Russia's leading Ice Age experts, the discovery of the body was of world importance and is the first and only find of its kind. The body was found by a group of reindeer herders on the island and was then sent around to various scientists to study the life of the animal. Number 7. Horned lark. Alright, some of these creatures aren't that big, but they're still pretty interesting, and size doesn't matter anyways. In 2018, fossil hunters were in the northeastern part of Siberia, known as the Pole of Cold, and they were tunneling into the permafrost. Deep underground, they discovered the body of a bird thought to be around 46,000 years old, but it was incredibly well preserved, and scientists say that it looks like it could have only died a few days ago. Researchers believe that it is the ancestor of the horned lark bird and is the first of its kind to have ever been discovered. It is also said to be one of the best preserved specimens ever discovered, as it was almost completely intact and still had all of its parts. The ice age that took place is thought to have generated many new species who adapted, and this is one of them. Siberia is home to a lot of frozen discoveries due to its freezing cold temperatures, and who knows what else is sitting in the ice, just waiting to be found. Number 6. Wolf. The Pleistocene era, or Ice Age, lasted from about 2 million to 11,000 years ago, and many great extinct creatures we've discovered come from this era. One of these discoveries was the head of a massive Ice Age era wolf that was still snarling 40,000 years after it had died. It was found in a cold region of Russia and is one of the first full-sized frozen wolves ever to be discovered. They found it in the summer of 2018, and it was described as having mammoth-like fur, sharp fangs, and was between the ages of 2 and 4 when it passed away. Because only the head was discovered, it only gave small clues towards the evolution of wolves and how they have changed and adapted over the years, but researchers were still able to reconstruct the head using 3D models and get a solid understanding of what these Ice Age wolves looked like. In fact, the specimen was so well preserved that it even still had parts of its brain. Number 5. Lion cubs. As I've mentioned before, Siberia is a place that is fairly popular for finding frozen specimens, and this time they didn't just find one animal, but instead 2 matching ones. They found 2 mummified cave lions that lived during the Ice Age around 30,000 years ago, giving them the names Sparta and Boris. They were found in 2017 and 2018 by mammoth tusk collectors, and one of the cubs was believed at the time to be the best preserved Ice Age animal ever found. It was originally thought that the two cubs they discovered were siblings, being only a few months old at the time of their death, but research showed that Boris had actually died about 15,000 years before Sparta. Sparta still had her fur, teeth, skin, organs, and even her whiskers, looking like she may have only recently died despite being a part of a species that went extinct over 10,000 years ago. If given the chance to grow up, the cubs would have managed to grow to 5 feet long and weigh almost 1,000 pounds. Number 4. Sharks. Creatures that are found frozen in ice don't always actually come from the Ice Age. There are plenty of cold places right now where animals can unfortunately become trapped or pass away and then freeze. In Cape Cod, Massachusetts, it has become startlingly common for giant sharks to become frozen in the ice off the coast. A few years ago, they found a total of 4 different sharks that had all become frozen in the ice and passed away. The sharks were apparently becoming trapped in shallow waters during changing weather conditions, and sudden cold snaps would cause them to freeze and die. The thresher sharks that were commonly becoming trapped were apparently not a very well studied species, so the bodies that were found were taken and thawed in order to be dissected and researched. The Atlantic White Shark Conservancy even went so far to refer to the specimens as sharksicles, but probably not something you'd want to eat on a hot day in the summer. Number 3. Mummies. Human remains are usually found when archaeologists dig up large graves and find skeletons, but in a rare case they managed to find the well-preserved and mummified body of a woman. A group of hikers exploring an Argentinian volcano found the body of a woman who appeared to have died around 500 years ago. The body was well preserved due to the incredibly high and cold elevation at which it was found. It's believed that the body was there as part of an ancient sacrificial ritual, and the woman, named the Inca Ice Maiden, was sacrificed. She was given lots of food and drink before being led up the volcano, where she was left to die of exposure. The discovery of her body was also incredibly important because from samples they took, they were able to discover that she was fighting tuberculosis, and these sorts of samples can help us work towards fighting these diseases in the modern day. Number 2. Foal. In the summer of 2018, they found what they called the best preserved Ice Age animal ever found. Feels like they say that a lot. Anyways, mammoth tusk hunters in Siberia found the body of an around 42,000-year-old horse foal, incredibly well preserved thanks to the cold temperatures. They say that it was only about 2 weeks old at the time of its death, and they were able to extract both blood and urine samples from it. The discovery apparently pushed scientists closer to the hope that they could bring these extinct creatures like mammoths back to life. I think we should listen to Jurassic Park's warnings and just deal with the animals we actually have right now. I know you might be thinking that a baby horse isn't some terrifying giant Ice Age creature, but full-grown horses are pretty big, okay, and they're actually kind of terrifying. I mean, they basically walk on one giant finger. It's creepy and I don't like it. Number 1. Baby mammoth. During the Ice Age, mammoths were one of the biggest creatures around, basically being massive furry elephants. This young woolly mammoth specimen was found in, you guessed it, Siberia. This incredibly well-preserved body of a young female woolly mammoth named Yuka is said to have lived around 28,000 years ago, and they were discovered around a decade ago. Due to her good condition, scientists were eager to conduct experiments, and one of those was taking cells from her body. When they put the cells together, they found that they were still active, even almost 30,000 years later, so they managed to technically revive Yuka in a way. At full size, woolly mammoths were usually around 13 feet tall and would weigh around 13,000 pounds, or the same as around 26,000 large oranges if that helps you picture it.
List at number 10. ARCTODUS simus. Lions, tigers, and ARCTODUS simus, oh my. This one's really scary. Also known as the giant short-faced bear, the ARCTODUS simus went extinct only a mere 11,000 years ago. Yeah, it was once the fastest running bear that ever existed. So already we have trouble. That's a terrifying fact. Its legs were much longer than today's bears. These were like lanky, fast bears. If the giant short-faced bear stood up on its hind legs, it would be around 13 feet tall. This thing was a beast. Today's bears also have different shaped toes. Today they have pigeon toes, more or less, but back then these guys had straight, forward-facing feet. So they were athletes, pretty much. Giant athletes with quick feet. Paleobiologists conclude that short-faced bears ate only meat. And given the fact that it was 11,000 years ago, I feel very badly for humans that found it. Well, with its powerful nose, realistically it would have found them. Yeah, the giant short-faced bear, I'm gonna say its full name every time. Also, I'm not just gonna say this bear, I'm gonna say the giant short-faced bear every time. The giant short-faced bear needed around 35 pounds of meat every day to survive. That's a lot of food. That's a lot of porridge. Yeah, I hope my porridge isn't too hot. Please God, don't let him burn his bare lips on my porridge. He's gonna eat me. These things are scary, honestly. Like, they're always like scary photos, like drawings of it too. Well, obviously, there's no photos. Number 9, Spinosaurus. Yes, another Jurassic Park star, and rightfully so. Look at this thing. The largest carnivorous dinosaur of all time, even bigger than a T-Rex. Can you imagine that? 93 million years ago, they stopped terrorizing the lands of what is now Egypt and Morocco. And if you didn't already guess, its name translates to spine lizard, hence the spine stuff. And that spine was quite long. It was its main feature, you know? The Spinosaurus would measure up to 60 feet long, and aside for its back, one of the most notable features is its 6-foot long head. It's got a massive head, man. Its mouth was similar to a crocodile's with straight, sharp teeth, not curved teeth. Straight, like a vampire. These straight teeth could stab right through anything, any fish, just a big skewer for a tooth, no problem. Paleontologists from the University of Pennsylvania believe that this guy used to swim as well. Nice, even scarier. Because where the first Spinosaurus fossils were found, well, that used to be by Haria Oasis in Egypt, which was a massive swamp. Water or land, I want nothing to do with this guy. Next. Number 8, Mega Piranha. Don't have to say much about this one. What if I just said Mega Piranha and then it was just the next point? You're like, oh, fair. These things, for starters, were much bigger than today's piranhas, obviously, hence their name. They came in at around 1 meter long. They ruled the waters around Argentina around 6 million years ago, so skinny dipping probably wasn't a thing. I hope not. Its bite force was 50 times its own weight, and like I said earlier, Mega Piranha, bigger. This thing was huge. It was bigger, it was badder, it was weightier, had more to it. Mega Piranha would be around 30 pounds on average. Its bite can out-chomp Megalodon any day. Any Tuesday. Even today, the word piranha makes people scared, it makes people anxious. As I was writing this, I was like, oh. I wasn't looking. Because our modern day black piranha, although sure it's only, 2 pounds, its razor sharp teeth can still take a chunk out of you. It's still quite dangerous. Yeah, but they didn't mention any of that in 3D Piranha Double D Part 3 or whatever we're watching now. These things are scary. Number 7, HELICOPRION. Perhaps one of the weirdest sea creatures to ever exist. 250 million years ago, that is. This thing looks like a shark, but scientists now know that it was related to chimeras, a fish that separated from the shark family 400 million years ago. Yeah, they were like, I don't like this family. I got some things going on in my mouth. See you later. Good. The 25-foot long fish was first discovered by Andrei Zarpinsky in Russia back in 1889. He got the name HELICOPRION because it translates to spiral saw. Yeah. In their mouth. Horrible. This guy found teeth fossilized in a spiral formation. What a find. He must have been scratching his head for months. Paleontologists all agreed today that this was not part of a fin. It wasn't a wacky spinal cord. This guy wasn't, all goofed up. But rather, it was its teeth. It was teeth coiled up, attached to the lower jaw of the fish, and its grasp was the same power roughly to that of a crocodile. Yeah, that's the worst thing I could imagine. So new teeth would form, and in turn these spirals would get longer and curlier. Adult fish would have 4 full rotations in their mouths. Rotations of teeth, that's horrible. 4 rows of teeth, can you imagine? I thought wisdom teeth sucked. Ugh. Number 6, LIOPLEURODON. Translating to smooth-sided teeth, nice, sounds a little fun, dare I say. The LIOPLEURODON was anything but a smooth sailor. It was a massive marine reptile from the Mesozoic era, first discovered in the 1800s. It was excavated in France back in 1873. All they got was 3 teeth, and that was enough. But when it was featured in 1999's Walking with Dinosaurs, the BBC series, it was shown as this massive 80-foot long pliosaur. But they were basing that size off of its skull, which we now know is just much larger than the rest of its body. We got too excited. The thing's literally a bobblehead of a dinosaur, and we're like, yeah, it was bigger, maybe, I don't know. Pliosaurs were the apex predators in Europe. 160 million years ago, most of it was covered in shallow water, so this guy would use its 4 flipper feet to stalk its prey. And researchers believe its snout was a key asset in hunting. He would just sniff for you. They didn't have any gills, so they did need to come up for air every now and then. Again, imagine this big head just appearing out of nowhere and just sniffing you. Going back in. That's Loch Ness Monster for sure. Number 5, Megalodon. Of course we have to mention him. Louis Agassiz discovered the Megalodon shark for the first time back in 1843. Yes, the Megalodon was once very real. Louis was a Swiss-born American naturalist and geologist. He discovered some amazing details around glacier activity and extinct fish. Historically, this guy is an OG. He's made quite the impact. He's brilliant. But one of those extinct fish he discovered back in the mid-1800s was the Meg, aka the tooth shark. This was long before Jason Statham was born, so we had no idea what to do with this guy. Megalodons can be found pretty much everywhere in the world except for Antarctica. It favored warm oceans, but similarly to a great white shark, it generates heat when it moves, so the Meg could literally have survived in most places on Earth. It's that big, it would just warm itself up. The largest recorded megalodon came in at 59 feet, around the same length as a bowling alley. A bowling alley with 7-foot wide jaws and 5 rows of razor sharp teeth. Nice. Nope. Number 4, ELASMOSAURUS. First discovered in 1868, a military doctor in Kansas found this creature's fossil, passed it along to American paleontologist Edward Cope, who named the plesiosaur. Its neck contained 71 vertebrae. I think I have like 56. I'm pretty close. Not as long, but definitely in the same family, for sure, as this guy. It was super long, which came in handy during those deep dinner dives. When I say long, the ELASMOSAURUS was around 50 feet in length, so it didn't need to go that close to the surface to get air. He just kind of leaned back and he was good. There's people out there that believe the Loch Ness Monster is just one of these things still swimming around. Honestly, as far as things go, that's probably the best guess. It's probably some sort of version of that, if it exists. Its teeth were sharp enough to eat anything that could fit into its mouth. And just 2 years ago, scientists have unearthed the largest known ELASMOSAURUS. This thing has been sitting there since the Cretaceous period waiting for us. And I'll be honest, I sure hope we don't find any more, because one water dragon is enough for me. I believe. Great. Stop. Number 3, direwolves. We'll go a little nicer before we get to our last haunting too. If you're from Southwesteros, this one might hit close to home. Around 10,000 years ago, pretty recently, direwolves were still a thing. They were pretty common. And if you watch Game of Thrones, you're probably nodding your head right now. It's pretty fun, right? You're getting hyped, or you're getting tissues, either way, spoilers. Canis dirus, aka direwolves, these beasts were a lot bigger than our average gray wolf. It wasn't like a mega wolf with 3 heads or anything, but it still did weigh a lot more. It was eating good as well. Their jaws were much stronger back in the day, so they could chomp their way through pretty much anyone and anything. Believe it or not, direwolves would actually hunt down and eat horses. Yeah, after studying their teeth, that was their go-to snack. But they were always easy to catch, I guess. If you're a wolf, they're no problem. Fast versus fast, I would hate to see that. That'd be so scary. Currently, if you're in the market for seeing 400 direwolf skulls yourself, weird, but here you go. You gotta head to the Page Museum in Southern California. They found hundreds of thousands of skulls in tar pits. So, if you don't believe in these things, here you go, history. To thousands of skulls, ought to change your mind. Number 2, a T-Rex. Tiny arms, massive head, loud scream. Yeah, we've all seen Jurassic Park, or at least one of the 6 movies they have now. And in real life, T-Rexes were probably a lot worse, to be honest. Around 70 million years ago, this big fella would roam what is now North America. But on average, it would be 20 feet tall, 8 tons, stretched a haunting 40 feet long. And yeah, it had tiny arms, and we can roast them for that, sure. But they clearly didn't need them now, did they? No, they're Old English, buddy. They would just headbutt anything. Look at these things. Its jaws are, of course, the main bread and butter here. 50 to 60 razor-sharp serrated teeth around 9 inches long would definitely help it digest 500 pounds of meat in one serving. Henry Fairfield Osborn, the president of the American Museum of Natural History, named the behemoth back in 1905. The name Tyrannosaurus rex comes from the Greek and Latin words meaning tyrant lizard king. Yep, I'd say he nailed it. Pretty good. Godzilla has a nice ring, but tyrant lizard king? That's pretty groovy. That's way better. I'm gonna change my Xbox name to that. Tyrant Lizard King 69. Number 1, CARNOTAURUS. Okay, remember that animated Disney movie just called Dinosaur? That movie that had this guy as the main villain? Yeah, that was way too scary for kids. I'm 27 now, I'll say it with full confidence. That scene was too scary. Cried in the theaters, I remember it. I still remember it. That and Ice Age weirdly got me, I don't know. CARNOTAURUS, they roamed the earth 69 million years ago. They were around the same size as a T-Rex, they were around 29 feet long, but they're nicknamed meat-eating bulls, so they were scarier. They would run at around 25 miles an hour. They're one of the fastest and largest moving theropods to ever live, ever, and its arms were even smaller than a T-Rex. But again, before you laugh, before you go, haha, little arm guy, that didn't matter for the meat-eating bull, because this guy has horns, just like the devil. Yeah, you were gonna say the devil. Yeah, he's oddly similar. The red skin, it's the whole shebang. The CARNOTAURUS was discovered in 1984 by Jose Bonaparte in Argentina. They've only discovered 1 skeleton of these things, so hopefully there weren't too many of these sprinting around. Hopefully, but again, as that movie depicted, it was a horrible time to live. Thanks, Disney. All their dinosaur movies, eh? They're really nice now. The dinosaur movies are nice. Back in the day, we had this guy as a villain. Yeah, we didn't have Arlo, the good dinosaur. Now I'm upset. We had scary movies growing up.
Number 10 spot, we have the Super Croc. The Super Croc is one of the largest crocodiles to have ever existed. The findings around it haven't been able to conclude that it is indeed the largest to have been found, but there's reason to believe that it is most likely. Its scientific name is Sarcosuchus imperator. The crocodile is about 40 feet in length and it weighed approximately 20,000 pounds. The remains that scientists were able to analyze showed that the animal actually wasn't even fully grown yet and it was over 40 years old when it passed. I hope someday scientists discover the remains of one that was fully grown so that we're able to know which croc was really the Super Croc. In our number 9 spot, we have the whale shark. The whale shark is the largest living fish in the world and the largest living animal that isn't a cetacean. It is apparently 36 feet and can weigh up to 41,000 pounds. The whale eats small fish that get caught in its mouth and plankton. An interesting fact about the whale shark, they are generally pretty gentle and humans have taken a ride on them from time to time. That's a tad bit terrifying. I wish I was more brave because that sounds like a crazy experience. In our number 8 spot, we have the Megalodon. We just had the whale shark, so now we're going to focus on the Megalodon, of course. Everyone's favorite shark. The Megalodon is the largest shark ever, and it is also one of the largest vertebrate predators ever. The shark apparently neared 52 feet in length and was near 140,000 to 200,000 pounds. For perspective, that's about 4 times heavier than a caravan. I googled this last night. Kinda want to buy a caravan in the future and party it up in Black Rock City, so that's where my brain was at. Anyways, back to the biggest shark in the world. Its teeth were usually between 2 and 5 inches in length, and apparently there was one uncovered that had teeth that was 7 inches in length. Wow. Apparently they would eat dolphins back in their day, so I'm kinda glad they've been extinct for 1.6 million years. Some believe it's still out there in the deep ocean, but we haven't uncovered one alive just yet. In our number 7 spot, we have the Mosasaurus. Not gonna lie, I recognize this dinosaur from Jurassic World. I'm a sucker for those movies. I may even have a marathon tonight, most likely by myself. How sad. The Mosasaurus was approximately 50 to 60 feet and was approximately more than 10,000 pounds in weight. What would it eat, you ask? Sharks and fish. It would be okay coming to shore unlike most aquatic animals, but apparently when pregnant she would most likely deliver her babies in the water, as that would have been easier than coming to shore. It's so interesting to me how scientists are able to figure these small details out. That is such a specific detail that you would think that they would have no way of knowing, and yet scientists. The world continues to amaze me. In our number 6 spot, we have the Syrian camel. The Syrian camel was not quite like your modern day camel. It was pretty similar to the elephants today in terms of size. It was about 13 feet tall and weighed about 5,480 pounds. The camel lived about 100,000 years ago, and at this point archaeologists do not have much information as to why they went extinct and also where they came from. They have discovered humanoid bones near them with stone tools, which has led them to believe that humans hunted them at some point. Side note, I've always wanted to ride a camel. You know, one day I shall go to Egypt and ride a camel, and when that day happens, I will feel fulfilled in life. In our number 5 spot, we have the Spinosaurus. Apparently the Spinosaurus was the largest carnivorous dinosaur in existence. Yes, bigger than the T-Rex, which is hard to imagine. Its head was about 6 feet in length. It was in total about 60 feet in length and weighed 200,000 pounds. It had spiky scales on its back that apparently would go to 7 inches in the air whenever the Spinosaurus would arch its back. The Spinosaurus could swim in the water, so its diet was mostly fish, sharks, carcasses, and sawfish. Its teeth were apparently not separated, so it couldn't rip things apart, and so that's why it was believed to mainly eat fish. In our number 4 spot, we have the Argentinosaurus. The Argentinosaurus is known as the longest and largest land animal that has ever existed. It could be as tall as 24 feet and weigh up to 224,000 pounds. It inhabited what is known as Argentina today. They were herbivores and would eat about 100,000 calories in plants per day. That's approximately 178 Big Macs. Yep, I googled that. They were known to have laid eggs that were the size of coconuts. Their babies had a lot of growing to do, and they usually continued to grow for about 40 years. Wow, such interesting creatures. I wish we had our very own Jurassic Park for just the herbivores. Obviously, that would be unreal. In our number 3 spot, we have the African elephant. Paraceratherium, in particular, is about 24 feet high and weighs anywhere from 33,000 to 44,000 pounds. It was a herbivore that would primarily eat leaves. It is known as the hornless rhinoceros, and that checks out. It looks just like that. They are believed to have gone extinct due to grassland open area environments that replaced the Central Asian forests over time. Makes sense. They need their leaves from the trees to eat, and I'm sure they ate a lot because they're pretty big. In our number 2 spot, we have the Titanoboa. This creature is incredible and definitely something that would haunt my dream. The Titanoboa is most definitely a terrifying predator. It is known for being able to swallow a crocodile whole. Yep, a crocodile. Damn, I'm terrified. No, obviously it is not very tall, as it's, a snake, but it is the largest, biggest, and heaviest snake to have ever existed, and it is certainly extremely long. Being 50 feet in length, it weighed in around 2,500 pounds, probably more on a day when it was digesting a crocodile. Apparently, its body could be as thick as 3 feet in the thickest area. It is believed to have been a constrictor snake, which means that it more likely suffocated its prey as it was not venomous. It is also believed that in its prime, it could have been the largest non-marine animal on Earth. In our number 1 spot, we have the blue whale. The blue whale is the biggest creature on the planet. Blue whales can generally be anywhere from 70 to 90 feet long, but there have been some reported cases of the whales being over 100 feet. For perspective, it's about as big as a 10-story building. Holy moly. When they are born, they're about 25 feet long. That's a big baby. They primarily eat krill, but sometimes other small crustaceans and fish. They are usually found in both cold and tropical areas, but this whale is sadly not as common anymore, as whale hunters have been known to intentionally hunt them down. They are known to live for about 35 to 40 years. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. I'm Melissa Melotti, your host. Follow me on Insta or YouTube at Melissa Melotti. I will see you next time. Until then, have a good day, sir. No, I hate when I have typos. I can never figure it out live. The camel lived about, and at this point, archaeologists do not have much information. Yeah, do not have, yeah. Camel currently still living. Yeah. Oh, I have that actually in my Paraceratherium. Oh, I didn't even realize I spelled it out for myself. Jesus. Sorry. I could have read that. Living. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna take all of that out. Let me just start from the beginning because I'm gonna just rewrite this.